Good morning. I would like to call the September 3rd, 2014 council meeting to order. Let the record reflect that all council members and city officials are present. I would also like to invite you back this evening at 5:01 p.m. for our budget hearing. Please come and attend that tonight. Please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Our Father in heaven, help us see our opening prayer on conversation with you, believing you hear us, care about us, and what we say and do here. Remind us that you are our perfect Father, who listens carefully to his children and desires the very best for us in our work here. We thank you for your family of citizens in which we belong and ask you to bless us, hold us in the palm of your hand. And on Thursday of next week, let us not forget all those who lost their loved ones on 9/11. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, John.
Welcome.
And we don't have any proclamations, but we have two very special presentations. Howard.
First presentation is utilities. Tom Jackson is going to say a few words. A 10-year service award for, it says here, Albert Quednow. I know him as Albie. Albie, come on up. It's your 10-year service award.
Good morning, Tom Jackson for the record. Albie's the first employee I hired with the city. When the hurricane hit on August the 13th in 2004, it took me about 2 hours to make my way out to the water treatment plant. And the fence was knocked down and the gate was knocked down, and he will remember this. He was walking around the parking lot, and I said, I don't know who this guy is. And he walked up to me and he said, I'm a water treatment plant operator. Do you need any help? I said, when can you start? And he said, well, I'm here now. I said, let's go to work. And he's been here for 10 years since that date. And Albie, when he came to us, he had a C license in water and in wastewater. He has since become a AA operator, which takes a combined 28 years of experience that he compressed into 10 short years because he's a smart man and he's a hard-working man. He's been in this industry over 26 years in the utility business in water and wastewater. He's the past chairman of the Region 8 FWPCOA. I can't even read my own notes. I can't say enough about what an asset he is to our wastewater treatment plant. The chief operator and the supervisor rely on him to compile data, to take tests, to do measurements, to complete state and federal reports that keep us in compliance and keep us running every day. And with that, I just want to say congratulations, Albie.
Thank you. No speech.
Okay, now we have this is one that we love to do because we don't get a whole lot of these, but when we do, we like to recognize the folks. Butch, you want to come up? And a life-saving award, Officer Kelvin Jimenez. Kelvin, come on up.
Good morning, Punta Gorda. Chief Butch Arnell, Punta Gorda Police Department. I would also like to recognize the great members of your police department, to include Echo Squad, which is Kelvin's squad, many of whom are here off-duty, and they came to recognize, and that's a great sense of family we have at the organization. Kelvin, who Joe Angelini, who's verbally challenged, still refers to as Calvin Jimerson. Right? Kelvin Jimenez has been with us since June of 2012. And we are very proud to have him with us, and I want to read you his nomination for the Life Saving Award. On July 16th, at approximately 9:40 a.m., Officer Kelvin Jimenez responded to a residence to conduct a routine welfare check. The resident was scheduled to be picked up by a friend for an appointment, and the friend was unable to contact her. Officer Jimenez observed the mailbox was filled with mail, and on the front steps were several newspapers. Fearing that she may be having a medical emergency, he located an open door in the rear of the residence. Once inside, he smelled a strong odor he did not recognize. He entered the master bedroom and found the resident laying on her side in the bathroom. She was not conscious or alert, but was slightly breathing. Officer Jimenez immediately called for fire and EMS and provided medical care until their arrival. Upon their arrival, another walkthrough was conducted and it was determined that the unknown smell was carbon monoxide. A vehicle was left running in the garage, possibly due to the residents' deteriorating mental status. And we do have these cases quite often in which the fire chief warns about frequently. The scene was evacuated and she was transported to Bayfront Health. Once it was cleared to re-enter, Officer Jimenez conducted a walkthrough and observed that the refrigerator had spoiled food and the garage had piles of garbage that appeared to be there for some time. He contacted the Department of Children and Families to ensure that she receives the care she needs. His quick thinking on this seemingly routine call saved our customer's life on this day. And with that, I would like to present on behalf of the City of Punta Gorda, Kelvin, a great honor for a 2-year officer, and that is our life-saving award bestowed on this date, September 3rd, Officer Kelvin Jimenez, in grateful recognition of your exceptional performance on July 16th. Through disregard of personal safety, your prompt and alert action resulted in saving a life beyond the normal scope of your duties, exhibiting demonstrable initiative, dedication, and superior service to the Punta Gorda Police Department and the great community we serve. Congratulations. He's very humble.
No speech?
No speech?
No speech? No?
No, thank you very much. It's an honor. Thank you very much for being recognized for the daily tasks that myself and other officers do on a daily basis. It's an honor. Thank you very much.
Great job. We'll just take a moment. If your name has been submitted for a board or committee nomination and you would like to come to the podium and introduce yourself, now would be the time. Any board, committee nominees like to introduce yourself? Okay, seeing none, we will recess the city council meeting and shortly call the CRA meeting to order. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, we will call the CRA meeting to order. Let the record reflect that all CRA members are present.
Howard Kunick, CRA Director.
First, though, we have to have citizens' comments.
Oh.
Okay, first on the agenda, citizens' comments on CRA agenda items only, which would be the project status report, the minutes, an invoice, and letter of intent for Sophia's Things lease. Any comments on those items? Okay, seeing none, now we have the CRA project status report.
Howard Kunick, CRA Director. Marina still does well. We're down to, I guess last month we had 10 liveaboards, now we have 8. And you see the pump out activity. The gate is in the marina. The security gate, it was installed. So we'll see how that works. The community park, we'll be letting that bid out this month. See how the bids come back. Again, that's community development block grant funds for the neighborhood park. Downtown flooding is done. They're just going through some walk-through items, although they are removing still some pepper trees, and they're going to plant some buttonwoods along Harbor Walk East, you know, where they had that issue with the mangroves. they're doing a good job removing some of the invasive pepper trees along there.
Good.
It's looking, I don't know if you've been down there, looking better. We did get word yesterday that we can contact Weiler Engineering to complete, revise the design documents. So that can now move forward. Now, this is the project that, if the sales tax passes, and we decide to use some of those dollars to front-end a year in advance of the grant funds, assuming FDOT is okay with that, we may do that. Otherwise, a couple years before we do this. Remember our game plan. They're a lot farther along than that picture. They're almost done, and they, it's different grass. It's Bermuda. It's, the dog is very happy on that grass. Much more so than that other.
Already checked it out.
Oh, my God, yeah, that dog's running around. Veterans Park, a letter has been sent to the county commission, and
I have some comments on that, but I'll wait until commissioner comments, if that's okay.
you want to do it now?
Well, yeah. Just a general update on the Veterans Wall. Funds now collected total $63,000 of the $80,000 required to purchase the wall. Once the granite is purchased, it's only going to take about 2 to 3 months for delivery. I know there was some talk about the city taking it into storage for a while. I guess that's still a plan, Howard?
We can accommodate.
Okay. Clear Channel Radio has made a major commitment to underwrite a fundraising effort for the event on November 8th. It's going to be held at the Moose Lodge. There'll be several bands participating. The Jake Michael Band, Jim Morris is going to be there. The bands will be participating throughout the entire day, and the event will be promoted by 7 radio stations throughout Southwest Florida. So it's going to be a big day. There is currently a link to the wall to the Veterans fundraising efforts on the city website, along with a listing of all of the fundraising events. Comcast is offering to promote those fundraising events on their station.
Nice.
The warden of the Charlotte County Correctional Facility has offered free inmate labor towards the wall if it's needed, and the veterans are agreeable and accepted. Of course, the CRA would have to approve that as well. But that's a consideration. And let's see what else. The design is really coming together. The engineer is working with the vets. And with regard to the letter sent to the county commission, I've had some second thoughts about opening up the issue with regard to asking the commissioners to kind of, work around an agreement that we've made with them to use all of those funds to pay down a debt rather than use it for starting a new project. And the $5,000, while it's meaningful, and my thoughts are it's really not that large an amount of money that maybe we want to open that discussion with the commissioners, and maybe we should just table that. Just my thoughts on it. I think that the vets are doing fine on their own so far. I have no doubt that the county at some point is going to step up to the plate and make a contribution towards the wall at their timing. So just a suggestion.
Tom, to add to what you said, after our last meeting, I talked to Ken Doherty
Yeah.
and told him what we had discussed, and that they were going to get some information from us. And he looked at me and told me, he said, "Do you realize how many other things that we need to put our money into?" Mm-hmm. And, I have to take that in consideration, too.
We'll raise the money,
All
Sure we
right.
will.
we'll raise the money.
I think that Tom has a good point, though, in terms of the relationship and our agreement with the county for the CRA debt remission. I think that probably needs to take priority.
I agree.
Yeah, and I did have that discussion with the vets at the last meeting, so they know that there's that possibility.
I had a conversation with Commissioner Deutsch
and he was not happy with the way we handled it as well. So I think that it's a good suggestion. That was what I was in favor of in the very beginning was. we
Which
have
is
needs that-
interesting, because when the tables are turned, it's a different scenario,
It is.
so.
Yes, you're
I
absolutely
mean,
right.
we've sent the letter, so if we just want to, if it doesn't go anywhere, not pursue it, that's fine.
That's my feeling. The letter's sent, just see what happens.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, we can do that. That's fine. That's all I have.
that's
Thank
it?
you.
Okay.
Do you want me to relay anything to the commissioners, or?
I think if you are all in agreement, I think that we should relay that to them, yeah, that we don't expect them to open up a discussion with regard to those CRA funds.
Unless one of them wishes to. I mean, we're not going to press it, but if one of them brings it up, then that's how I think we would handle it if they brought us a request, which has happened in the past. So,
I think it speaks for itself. They'll be able to see this meeting. I don't know if we have to do anything else hard, but so that's just me.
Okay,
Thank you.
September 17th, 2:30 on your calendars. Even though the adult fitness area is being used, and has been used, we are going to have the official ribbon cutting. That's when Rotary wants to have it. We'll do it after council meeting on the 17th.
Howard, Tom
I've
has.
been over to the adult fitness park, and I don't have a clue on how to use half of the machines over there. Do you think it would be possible to have somebody, when we have this ribbon cutting, do a demonstration on how some of these devices are supposed to be used correctly?
Carolyn?
Howard, I thought that there was going to be plaques in front
There
of
is.
each.
There is,
are?
yes.
Okay.
You just have to actually take the time to
You have-
check it out.
Yeah, some of the equipment is a little more self-explanatory than others. People are using them.
Yes, the
Every
elliptical
day.
is great. Did you try that one? The elliptical, the little ski machine?
Yeah, it doesn't work the same way as the one in the gym. Let's leave it at that.
We have found a bike rack that looks
Cute.
like a bike.
That's great.
We will be ordering it after October 1st and placing it there.
Nice.
Okay?
I like it.
That's great.
Any other questions for Howard? Okay, next we have approval of the minutes.
So
Any-
moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Next, we have an invoice from iCard Merrill.
Move approval?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the invoice. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. And next, we have a letter of intent for Harold Court Center.
Good morning, Lindsay Harrington. For the record, with Coral Banker Residential Real Estate, downtown Punta Gorda. I present to you a proposal from Sophia Cousins of New York City, who is relocating back to Florida and to the city here to be near her mother. And she is proposing to put a boutique as well as a juice bar operation. That would come later on. There are permits required, training required, that kind of thing. But she'll start out with the boutique there at the former Creative Circle. And the proposal is before you at $14 a square foot for 3 years.
I'm okay with it, with the proposal.
I would like to see some kind of increases
And this is for-
over the
Yeah.
3-year period. I mean, it is lower than everyone else, right? That's
It
in
is.
there.
The difference between this and the others is that the others, the city provided $35 a square foot to help build out. We are not providing any funds while they remodel, because it was built out, they're obviously going to have to remodel.
Sure.
It's all on their dime. Also, what's different about this is that there is no inflation clause in here, and the others do. That And we talked in our agenda meetings that that is something that may be considered.
Is there any extension being discussed at all?
Extension beyond 3 years?
Yes.
No, it will be basically, she'll ask for the notice, which is normal, 6 months prior to the end of the lease, and a discussion would begin at that point in time. I mean, she may opt to, because of the market conditions, decide to relocate, expand, whatever.
And then the most of the improvements that she does interior would belong to the city?
Of course they would, yes.
Except for her furniture and
Yes, of course.
removable items, yes.
That's correct.
Tom?
This is a people-centric proposal,
Yes.
which is good. But I also agree with Kim. I would like to see at least an inflation adjuster in the lease.
If I may, this is her offer.
So what you're saying is, if we do not accept it
There
the
would
way
be
it
no
is,
deal.
it's over.
It's over with.
One of the things that I think that I talked with Howard about also was the $35 per square foot that we'll not have to be putting in again into this particular shop. And that, to me, is also quite valuable in terms of what will be coming in and what will not be going out. I don't have any problems with it.
I'd move approval of the lease.
Second.
So we have a motion, a second, to approve the letter of intent to move forward with a lease agreement. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously.
Thank you very much, Sarah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, now we have citizens' comments. Citizens' comments, please come to the podium, state your name, you have 3 minutes. Seeing no citizens' comments, now we have commissioner comments. Let's start with Carolyn.
None, thank you.
Tom?
No, thank you.
Yes, I was a witness to our fire department this last week, and it was one of those unfortunate things. I walked out the door and I could smell smoke, and I heard sirens, and I looked down the street and saw this horrendous smoke. And the fire department arrived, and it was just getting worse. The flames, the smoke, it was, different colors, black. I couldn't tell whether it was a car in the driveway or the house. And it turned out to be a car in the driveway. And I was very concerned because I could smell that smoke, and I knew that it was awful and was hitting lungs, and I was worried about the firemen. And of course, they had all their gear on. And they got it out just right away. The good news is they had the garage door open, and there was a car in there. The house did not burn. There was smoke damage. And the car that was in the garage was not hurt. So they did a yeoman's job. I was very proud of our fire department and how fast they got that out.
Thank you. I would just like to say, too, we had the dedication of Rescue 9.
Right.
And what a great service for the city and the county. And really to, hear the explanation of why it's needed and how they were stretched so thin before they added the 2 new vehicles into service. So, and what I learned that day, too, was that the ambulance usually goes along on the fire calls to support the firemen, to
You can
support the
see
fire
why.
personnel.
Yes.
And so, when you talk to them, you learn different details that you probably didn't think of before, so.
This is congratulations to our public service. The fire department's program of putting the batteries in fire ceiling alarms are great. We use it. And congratulations to the police department for their home checking on people that are on vacation. That's a terrific service
Right.
that's performed by both the police and the fire. Thank you.
Kim?
I'd just like to say something about Harold Court and our having that and leasing it. I mean, we're really not leasing people, and I don't know if it's possible or if it already is condoed that we could sell that bottom floor, not the parking garage. It would be nice to have the parking garage, but if it was owned by the private sector, they would be out looking for people, and you know, we just feel like, oh, we've got to fill it up because it's just sitting there empty. Where if I owned that building, it would be a profit center for me. It would be, not that it won't be a profit center, but I just think it's something that we might want to look at to, you know, just put it on the market and see what we could get for it.
I would agree with you.
I thoroughly agree, and I think this issue came up previously, to get out of the business of leasing.
Of renting.
We would all agree.
So do you want to put it, you want to have options explored and put it on a future agenda?
I'd be in favor of that immensely. Get
Okay.
rid of it. We don't belong in the business.
And I don't disagree with that either. I'm just curious, how much is that space, how much space is, as a percentage, is left to be rented in Herald Court?
Oh, more than that.
Well,
Yeah.
if we're going to be optimistic, and Morgan Stanley's going to move in, and the boutique is going to move in, because we've seen these fall by the wayside before, but let's be optimistic, then we really don't have that much space left. We only have maybe, we have the little bike shop, that's about 1,100 square feet, and then we have maybe another, maybe 5,000 square feet.
Nancy?
You know, I've talked to some people in the real estate business, and what the advice that they gave me was, had this been privately owned, this would have been rented out years ago. A lot of people don't like airing their business in a public setting like this, and it's just not conducive. And I think it's a really a good idea for us to discuss.
So I think we have consensus to make this an agenda item for the next CRA, or however
Yes.
it works out.
We can give you a process that we would use, because we're going to have to do an appraisal, and then,
Right,
I know we've been through this years and years ago, and the market wasn't there.
right. The one thing I want to say is, like, when we do a lease for $10 a square foot, you know, plus the $4 CAM, I mean, we're really lowering the value of the property, because now we have, even though the lease is only 3 years, so I don't have a lot of heartburn about that. If I were buying a property, I would look at it and say, oh, we have some okay leases, and, you know, the better your leases, the better you are. So for us, it's better to have somebody paying $14 a square foot than paying nothing. But for a person who's buying it and trying to, so, you know, that 3 years is not the end of the world, so. just
We'll put it on the next agenda.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Nancy, you have comments?
No.
Okay, that's it. We are adjourned. You need a break? Is everybody okay? You okay?
We're
Good.
looking at an hour and a half. Looking at an hour and a half.
Yes. You want one?
I'm good.
Okay. You ready? We're ready. Okay, the city council meeting is back in order, and now we have our public hearing agenda. We have no public hearings or quasi-judicial public hearings, but we do have an ordinance, which we will have citizens' comments on, and the ordinance is the local mitigation strategy with the county and the city.
Yes.
Any-
I'm sorry.
We're going to have citizens' comments on that first.
Okay.
If anybody would like to speak on that item, please come to the podium. Seeing none?
Actually, this is a resolution, which I'll read by title only. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Punta Gorda, Florida, reaffirming the Charlotte County/City of Punta Gorda local mitigation strategy as the formal guide for hazard mitigation activities.
Does anybody have any questions on the resolution?
Move adoption of the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion, and a second, to adopt the resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. Next, we have the consent agenda, and first I would like to ask if any council members would like to pull any items from the consent agenda.
C1.
C1, which is the letter of support for the roadway landscaping, will be pulled. Any other items? Okay, now we have citizens' comments on consent agenda items. Any citizens would like to comment on the consent agenda? Seeing none.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve consent agenda without C1. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. C1. Carolyn, you want?
I'd like to recognize that we have our MPO director, Bob Harrington, and his staff member, Gary Harrell. Thank you for being here. Obviously, I'm very much in favor of this. What I did want to call attention to is discussion at the recent MPO meeting with Chris Smith from FDOT, and he recommended highly that the committee prioritize which areas that you want to have bold landscaped. Primarily, he says, one is going to be done in the district. So they need to have your recommendations, and you can provide the 3, 4, in case there may be some other activity going on within those areas that they would then, move on. But definitely to prioritize which one comes first. So I just wanted to add that and for the group.
Thank you. Are you suggesting we should add language to this letter? I mean,
Well, I think that the committee is going to be discussing it with them, isn't that
The
correct?
purpose of this letter is to support Charlotte County's application for FDOT grant funds. It has nothing to do with the bold landscaping initiative. What they did say was we were applying for grant funds for Jones Loop Road, and they said, don't apply for the landscaping funds for Jones Loop Road because we'll take care of that with the bold landscaping. We, having seen the bold landscaping in different communities, it's really a different thing. So we can come back later and add. But we were told not to apply for the grant funds. So this is just strictly landscaping to provide around some entrance signs, which would be letting people know that you're now in Charlotte County. If it's at like the Lee County line, it would say, welcome to Charlotte County, with a lot of really nice landscaping around it, so that we're, proud of our county. And at the exits to from the interstate, we can't say welcome to Charlotte County because we're not at the county line, but it would just say Charlotte County with some nice landscaping. But they would be down on the, like Jones Loop Road, not on the exit ramps or the entrance ramps, which is where the bold landscaping is. But,
So your committee is not working on the bold landscaping
well, we were
initiative?
told at the last meeting that the county's already given them a response, but I can certainly check into that. And that's good to know, because we were not told that we needed to prioritize it. They were
Well,
just said.
That's what I was concerned about, that it'd be, that you would have that
I
information.
know that they were given, that they told the FDOT, Jones Loop Road and I-75, US 17 and I-75, and Harborview and I-75. They asked for 3, but they didn't say what's your number 1 priority. At least that's not the way it was explained to me. But I can certainly communicate that to them.
Thank you.
and does the council have a priority? I mean, do we want to add language or just leave it generic like this? Because
Well, if council has a priority, I'll express that separate from this. This letter has nothing to do with the bold landscaping. These letters are to go in with our grant application, to say we support Charlotte County applying for these grant funds.
All right, I'd like to move approval then for C1.
Tom has a
Yeah,
comment.
okay. So the bold landscaping is not part of this proposal? Is that what I'm hearing?
It's not part of what this letter is for.
Okay.
The letter is FDOT has $1 million in landscaping funds that they will give out through grants, up to $100,000 each, just to purchase landscape materials. And so we've picked 3 areas. Now we're down to 2. I don't know if we're going to add another one, but that we would apply for these funds. There are 15
What are the
different
2
gateways.
areas? Sorry.
The other one is,
Because this says Kings Highway was taken off because FDOT is now planning to make interchange improvements.
yes, we took that off, and FDOT said, don't apply here because we're going to be making some, and we said, well, one of the committee members said, yes, but where we are going to be putting this landscaping it's separate from and different from where you're going to be making the improvements, but we all know how trucks drive over things, and we just didn't want to chance it. So it's Jones Loop Road, and I-75 was probably our top one because of the airport. And it was a US 41 and 776, so it's an entrance to the beaches, and it's US 41 and the Lee County line.
So, question.
Yes.
Where does this concept of bold landscaping come from? Who has signed off on it? And could somebody explain really what it's all
Sure,
about?
I can do that. The Florida Department of Transportation is trying to enhance the major gateways, major intersections around the state where there are high-traffic areas, trying to give a tropical feel and create more ambiance in the state. If you go over the Sunshine Parkway Bridge into St. Petersburg, you can see all these palms that have been planted, tons of them. They did that just before the Republican National Convention was going to be held. At the interchange of I-4 and I-75, there are tons of palms. And that's the bold landscaping. And they're going around and picking spots to do this. And we noticed this happening in the state, and we asked FDOT, what about us, Charlotte County?
So just if I could interrupt, just a question. So this is an FDOT initiative?
Yes.
That the
And
county
there
is
is,
applying for.
if you go on the internet and do a search on Florida Department of Transportation bold landscaping, you'll get, one of the links you can get to is a presentation.
And where do they get their input in support of the bold landscaping concept? Do you know that?
I don't know where they started. They do traffic counts, and they wanted to know traffic counts from
Maybe you could
this.
ask Mr.
Yes.
Harrington.
So
My
it's,
question is really, has everybody signed off on a concept? Does everybody like the look of the bold landscaping?
It's amazing if you've been up
it draws.
75. It is amazing. I mean, there are hundreds of very tall palms, and they're all together. I mean, it is an amazing view, and it's one of the things that I said, well, why is it here and not, as
Yeah.
you said, in Charlotte County? Mr. Harrington, do you want to be able to respond to that?
Yes, for the record, Bob Harrington with the Charlotte County Punta Gorda MPO. The bold landscaping is a new concept. We received just via an email from staff from DOT a request looking for possibly 3 interchanges or intersections where they could consider doing the bold landscaping. It's something that I think they've just finally titled. But like you said regarding the Republican National Convention, when they put that in, they did all these gorgeous palms. They really got raved. I mean, it was great. And they finally, I think they pulled it together and said, this is a great idea. We should put some money into our major interchanges. And so they sent us just basically an email asking, do you have 3 interchanges or intersections we'd like? So we forwarded it out and got input for the 3 that we sent. Basically, it was not even a formal letter. It was just an email saying, these are the 3 intersections that you may want to consider. So, but it's a separate program. It's something that they've come up with. And we look at it from the point of view that if DOT contacts us and says, we have money for you, we'll find something for them to do with it. So, because that doesn't happen very often. But I thought that the 3 projects that we talked about and that you've mentioned, I think they're ideal. I think it's going to be a big plus for this area.
Okay.
Yeah, I first noticed it when I went to the Florida League of Cities training in Ocala in January. I came back, and I had taken pictures with my phone, and I emailed it to the committee and said, what is this? This is wonderful. And someone came back and said, oh, it's the Bold Landscaping Initiative. So we asked the Florida Department of Transportation person who comes to the committee meetings about it, and they had never discussed it with us before. So that's when the discussion, well, can we have some? So we started asking
can we have some? And then when we had our last meeting a couple weeks ago, we were told that they had come back to the county and asked for 3.
So the letter is basically supporting the Charlotte County, asking for the grant funds through FDOT.
I think that
It's a different-
the letter is a separate grant application.
Oh,
We're
who is-
supporting a separate grant application for landscaping for the city itself, where the bold is looking at area-wide. It's a separate grant funding.
Totally
In
separate.
fact, it's not a grant, it's FDOT dollars that they're going to
Okay.
be spending.
Yeah, they're really not to be,
So the Florida
commingled?
Highway Beautification Grant is administered by who?
That is, it's probably also administered by DOT, but that's them offering funding to you to do projects. The bold is, they're going to be supporting those, they're going to be doing this out of their own coffers.
Okay, so the letter is for the beautification grant.
Okay.
And I move
Separate from
approval.
the- Okay.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to approve the letter for the beautification grant support. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Harrington. Next, we have the regular agenda, and first, we will have citizens' comments on regular agenda items only, which is the presentation of the strategic plan, the selection of a lobbyist, the discussion and clarification of model home regulations. Citizens' comments. Okay, seeing none, we move into the budget, which will be the presentation of the 2015 strategic plan.
We completely redid our strategic plan a couple years ago. So last year and this year, all we've added are the action items based on the proposed FY 2015 budget. You have those action items. They coincide with the budget. We've sent around requests for comments. We received the comments, incorporated them into the plan. And rather than pursue this any further, does anybody else have any additional comments or suggestions for changes? Because we would like council to adopt the action items.
I have a couple of suggestions, kind of piggybacking on what Kim brought up at CRA, and I've asked for kind of an asset list of the city, what properties, after the land swap discussion had come up, what properties does the city own that are actually marketable? And I think we should be looking at that, just like we're looking at all these other things about annexation. We should be looking at what properties does the city own that are available to put on the market that really, of course, we would have to discuss what their use or potential use would or would not be. But I think every year we should be looking at that.
Agree.
Good, because the last time we did this, which was a previous council, they said no.
Yes.
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 Let's move forward.
So I
right.
think that should be one of
Okay.
our routine yearly look-sees.
City properties, we'll have that as an action item.
The other thing that I wanted to have a quick update on was our bicycle-friendly applications that I know there's a committee working on that, and there's some discussion in the community. Is the city working toward trying to improve over the bronze level that we've had in the past? So I just would like an update, because I've been asked by a couple people about what are we actually doing on that front.
There has been a committee that has been working on whether or not we could apply again and upgrade our designation to actually get bicycle-friendly designation. Our staff has reviewed those items and has commented to the group working on it. That's a group of citizens from Team Punta Gorda and staff, and said that we still have a lot of items to do. We probably wouldn't get bicycle-friendly designation. And now let me be more direct. For us to take staff away from their normal duties, or duties that we have outlined already, we have a limited amount of staff in urban design, and to put them on this project when they have already reviewed the criteria, as a city manager, I'm not recommending we do that. Just to put in an application that we feel we may not even get an award
Okay.
at
And-
this time. We still work on it, we'll still try and do more, but until we're ready, should we really put in an application?
And some of the initiatives would need funding attached to them to make them viable, correct?
Some may.
Some would, so.
Have you seen the feedback from the last time we applied? There was feedback that was given from the Florida League of Bicyclists. I was actually a reviewer, and to support you in what you just said, Howard, we really have there was a lot of good suggestions of things the city should be working on, and we have done some, but there is more to do, and I think I know that the bicycle-friendly community from Team Punta Gorda is really working with Mitchell on helping achieve a lot of things, and I think Mitchell's saying, let's just wait until we get more things done, and then we'll have more achievements to get there, and hopefully we'll get a bronze or something. So I would support that.
And I also would support that. I think it's in the back of all of our minds that that's our goal and that's where we would like to be. And I just think that as long as we're aware of it and keep it in our minds, we'll make sure that it happens.
So what I'm hearing is that as opposed to putting it in an action item, if you put it in an action item, then we're going to have to rearrange staff's time.
No, I wanted an update. I didn't want to put it in as an action item.
Okay.
Tom?
Yeah, one of the things that I've also have been part of it's part of the vision elements is one that deals with, we say Punta Gorda will be an economically sustainable four-season community and a cultural hub of Charlotte County. Well, there's little we can do about making it a four-season community, but what actionable items are there that could be undertaken to make Punta Gorda more of a cultural hub? Is there something that we can talk about or maybe have a citizens group get more involved in? It's just that it's here all of the time, and I don't know that we see improvement on it.
Well, we put money toward a cultural plan
Yes, we did.
with the Arts and Humanities Council, and I know that that's something that's being discussed, and that Bill Klausner is the president of that organization. I don't know where they're going with that. They're reorganizing themselves at this point in time. But that is something that is supposed to occur. When, I don't know.
And we supported the Regional Planning Council with their grant for the asset art and public places mapping. We're still a part of that, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Maybe the wording, I mean, I guess the word cultural is a little bit hard to define. Is that,
Remember, when we redid our strategic plan, there are certain categories that we got a lot of input on. Mission, vision, those types of things. I think there's a lot of things we have been doing to try and become more cultural. Obviously, there's more to do. Is there some action item you want us to put here?
Yeah, well, again, it's strategically, this is, this provides us with a focus. What we're doing now, and I would agree with you, we could probably do a lot more. It probably needs to be a whole separate discussion, though, in terms of what are the possibilities, and then how do we make it happen? So I would like to maybe put that on a future agenda.
yeah, we could do that.
And maybe get some input from the visual arts and the symphony, and everyone's doing things, and I see that more of us just being supportive of their efforts and what they're doing. And if we put it on an agenda, maybe we could have them tell us where they are with their different projects that they're working on.
That's a good idea.
Like that idea.
And I thought that was tied into our website redesign also, that we would hope that when we did revamp this website, like the ones that we looked at from other cities, there would be more of a cultural component and a tie-in with all those nonprofits and the people that are doing the activities in the community. So, if it was live, work, play, or whatever, however we word it, there would be a whole entire section tying the city to all these other visual arts center and all these other resources that are out there. So in my mind, the website redesign was in that direction, and that the city would be a conveyor of that communication for those groups.
I know the various groups need to be included in that discussion as we move forward.
Yes,
with
I would
that.
think so.
I mean, all we can do, we don't have the funds to, build a new center. We can just be supportive of the community's efforts, really.
Anyone out there want to help with that?
And we have, the city owns a visual arts center, right, the building? No?
own the land.
We own the land, they built the
yeah.
building. So we do partner, even though that was 25 years ago, but look, they're still going strong, right?
We're
So-
doing the best we can
Oh, I
with
know
what
that
we have.
Charlotte Players is actually looking at doing something here in town.
Yep.
So it's,
And FGCU, actually, they have theater kids. There is a lot out there, maybe we're not highlighting it.
So I think we need to come together and
Yes.
start to have some more comment, more open up the dialogue and see if a plan will evolve from that.
Sounds good.
And maybe somehow document it in the strategic plan so it reflects all this discussion that we're having right now. Nancy?
I have a different one, so when you're
Oh,
done with
okay.
this discussion.
Tom, do you have any other?
That's fine, thank you.
I've been giving a lot of thought on page 6, under external. The first thing that's on there has to do with annexation. And I've been wrestling with this. There are fees associated with annexation. So annexation is a goal that we have. While annexation is voluntary, we want to encourage annexation. But in order to annex, we have fees. If it's a property is under 10 acres, there's a $1,000 fee for the annexation, there's a $2,000 fee for the, possibly for the, it's a variance.
Land use and zoning.
Land use, yes, thank you, and then there's another 1,000 possibly for the comp plan. So it could be $4,000 for a business that wants to annex into the city. So we've got, in what is, in my mind, a fairly sizable, depending on the business, or on the property, a sizable fee. It seems that if we're going to encourage annexation, that we should discuss possibly putting some budget dollars together so that we may be able to waive the fee, or somehow we decide that we're not going to charge the fee. The problem we have is there are costs, and the costs are mainly the cost of the advertising that we have to do with the newspaper. And that's expensive.
And attorneys,
And it could be. So
right?
it's just,
Correct.
Right?
so there are costs to it, but yet, on the other hand, we're not really doing something to encourage it either. And I know I've been having discussions recently with Park Hill and with Riverhaven, and they were given an offer to annex into the city a couple years ago. Actually, was it last year when Eagle Point annexed in? They chose not to annex in for a variety of reasons at that time. But now they're talking about it and have said to me, well, does the same deal exist? And they want to know now, because when people come back, they're going to start to really talk it up so that they can vote in February to approve annexing into the city. But they need to know what the costs are, and they're asking, will we be able to waive the fees, as were going to be done originally. So, I'm looking at that, and I'm thinking, the other thing I think is, one of our goals is to preserve the historic character of this community. And the more area that we are in control of, the more that we can do to control that and to help preserve the historic character of the community. So annexation makes sense. It's just that dollar question.
Perhaps,
I think, our goal is to increase the commercial tax base of the city.
Absolutely.
So the fees, I definitely would like the city to cover the cost, the hard cost that we would incur. So it's kind of a slippery slope for me, but commercial, maybe over residential would be something, and what we do for ad valorem, like 50%. But again, the city is incurring hard costs, and that's what those fees are, to cover that. So, and bringing in more residential doesn't really support our goal of increasing the commercial tax base. So I don't know that I would be in favor of waiving the fees. Tom?
I would agree, and I think, Howard, we recently did a restructuring of the annexation fees to make them more in line with other cities and communities in the area. Did we not do that?
For those over 10 acres.
For those over 10 acres?
And even the
Large
fees
parcels.
under 10 acres are in line because now, basically, we're charging for advertising.
Yeah, we are. I mean, I actually looked at the annexation fee itself, the $1,000. That basically covers the cost of the advertising. And I think that, we run on such a slim budget as the way it is. It's just, what I wanted to do was raise the issue of, I don't want to see a change here, but if we have a goal, then I think we need to be able to not have a goal, and then we need to have some flexibility.
The fee is there, however, they're also going to recoup other costs when they do annex into the
Yes,
city.
that's right.
So I think probably in talking with them, there needs to be a balance in showing them, well, yes, it might cost this, but that is a hard cost of advertising, but look at what you're going to get, as you move down the
Which you'll
pike.
save.
And what you will save.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
So I think there's another issue.
And also for us, looking at each project, I mean, what are we going to gain by having them? I mean, it's by just looking at each property and saying, okay, we can recoup our cost in this amount of time, and so.
As our population increases, that does change formulas a little bit. And our population has gone up, but this year, I think part of that is because we annexed in Eagle Point, which has quite a few
Do
residents.
we have
so.
consensus on where we are with this?
Yeah, can we move on?
Yes, so we're not going to change that in the strategic plan. It's going to stay the same.
I
Okay.
just wanted to raise the question.
Okay, Carolyn, did you have comments?
Yes, I did. Also on page 6, I think I'd like to have added as an action item to develop a business development plan in collaboration with the Punta Gorda Chamber that will include both promotion of new businesses and retention of current businesses. We had talked about that. The current grant application that the city is doing for through the Department of Economic Opportunity kind of falls into that. But again, I think probably as an action item to have that incorporated, and then as a performance indicator that we actually have a business development plan that's approved by the council.
Isn't the DEO grant for One Community, One Message?
But that's basically the same kind of thing. What we're doing is trying to market the city, and we're trying to market both for, and I guess I'd like to make sure it's not only new businesses, but it's also for retaining our current. We can bring in new businesses, but then if we have as many going out, we're not adding to our commercial bottom line.
So would we want that under this or under marketing, though? Because it's more of a marketing,
Well, I would like to incorporate this as a business development plan, and which I believe would be helped by the materials that are developed for the one.
I think it's more of a marketing.
I like it here
Plan.
because it's financial and economic sustainability.
That's where I thought it belonged.
Are we developing a business plan?
We are applying for technical assistance to put together more of an action plan for the One Community, One Message. Now, it all ties in. It all
Okay.
ties
It's all
in together.
interrelated.
If we do not get the grant, then we will have to form a group and develop our own plan.
And this would be done again in collaboration with the chamber.
So why don't we wait to find out if we get
Get
the
the
funding
grant.
and the technical assistance before we include it? Because otherwise, we'll have another item in there with no actual funding or,
Well, to develop a plan, we would have to do that in-house. We would sit down with the chamber and their Economic Development Task Force and come
We
up
would
with
work with them.
okay.
In the downtown merchants?
And yes,
Well,
as they're part of the
they're
chamber.
part of it.
Right, okay.
Yeah, they're part of it.
Is that agreeable?
Right, I mean,
Yeah, we
but
need-
that's just members, too, of the chamber. I mean, there are other businesses that are not members.
Yes,
That's true.
it would be broadened more than that. The Economic Development Task Force, while it's associated with the chamber, it's more reaching than just chamber members.
Yes.
The purpose of that task force is not for chamber members.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, as long as it's clear that there's no, it's grant-related and would be in-house.
Well, I believe
It
that
wouldn't-
grant will definitely support
It's it, yeah.
the development of a plan. And then the other thing is on page 11, one of the things that we heard at the League of Cities is, not only what you're doing, but what you can stop doing. And I'm not sure if our City Hall Ways newsletter is that critical, and to have staff work on that, 2 times a year. It's only 2 times a year. But whether or not, again, from the staff's perspective, and I'd like to hear, again, maybe not today, but perhaps in the future, is that something that really needs to be done? We have so many other communication issues. I mean, we have the weekly, we're wanting to put efforts into our website. I don't know that having that paper newsletter is that helpful, or if it's needed.
Do we print those? Or are they?
We put them on our website, send it out with the weekly report twice a year. Has a lot of information